Great friendships don't just happen. They're built intentionally and defended over time. We've been talking a lot about friendships because I'm hearing DecaMillionaires and some of the groups I'm associated with talk about friendships in a way that I honestly have never considered. There is a vast difference between the way that DecaMillionaires work with their friends and the average business owner works with their friends. It's strikingly different. And what I've noticed is that in my own life, I have failed and exceeded and succeeded in several parts of friendship. So I'm sharing these with you. Do you realize that there are guardrails that you can apply in your life to build everlasting friendships and really protect what matters most? I get it. We're busy. Things move fast in our society today. People move from one location to the other. Our children get older. People that we associate with shift around. Seasons shift, and so do relationships. But true friendship doesn't have to. I have friends of mine that we see each other once or twice a year, face to face, and when we walk into the room, hugs, and it's like we never have been apart. These are the same men in my life that I could call on the phone and they would drop everything, drive 1,000 miles, and be at my house the next morning if they had to. This is the type of a friendship. You see, strong friendships are like strong companies. They thrive because somebody took the time to protect what made them valuable. So there's some guardrails that I want to go over that I've been noticing in my own life and the lives of some of the DecaMillionaires that I've had the privilege of associating with, even a billionaire that I've had the privilege of associating with. I want to share some things with you in the matter of guardrails for your friendship. So the first guardrail is you've got to allow your friends to challenge your comfort zones. You have to. If there's anything off limit, then they're not a friend. Not the friend of the depth that I'm talking about. They may be an acquaintance, but they're not a friend who genuinely wants what's best for your life and for you with no pretense, nothing they can get from you. You see, if your friends do not stretch you, they're not helping you grow. Keep friends around you who want you to become more than what they are. Keep friends around you that will challenge your current leadership ceiling. Keep friends around you who will challenge the way in which you think. Second thing is I noticed that when a challenge arises, conflict handled well deepens friendships. We're all humans. Every one of us have made stupid comments. Every one of us have made dumb decisions. I'm the worst out there. What I've noticed with DecaMillionaires and what I've noticed in my own life, my top friends, is that whenever there's conflict, it actually deepens it because we don't avoid it. Avoidance kills every friendship out there. It's more than just a disagreement. Disagreements don't kill anything. It's whenever you avoid the conversation around that or communication. So one of the things I've learned, and my friends have helped me with this because I'm the type of guy who will avoid things. You come at me pretty hard, I'll just shut you off. That's just the way I am. And I wish I wasn't that way. One of my dearest friends, if I push on him, he'll say, "Hey, time out, that hurt." What are you trying to say? "Man, I didn't mean to hurt you. This is what I see." "Oh, well, let's deal with this directly and biblically. Let's have a conversation around it." That is a true friend. And he's encouraged me to do the same thing because that is not in my personality. So the second guardrail that we have in dealing with friendship is to allow conflict to happen and handle it right. Handle it directly and biblically. Here's what I've noticed is whenever you have conflict, those friends that you fight through the things and come to a resolution, they're the friends who are also your courage givers. The third point is these friends, they'll give you the courage you need. They'll pump that in motivation into during your seasons of fear. Courage is contagious. You ever notice that? I follow this philosophy called the herd mentality. There's a lot of different scientific terms for it, but I love to see it happen. Typically, you'll be in a group environment and then one person will do something. Maybe it's they raise their hand. Maybe it's they stand up. Maybe they say speak. And then the rest will follow suit. That's courage displayed. We were at a wedding and the pastor who was doing the wedding, he said, "Hey, would anyone like to say anything to the bride and groom?" And the room was quiet for an awkward 15, 20 seconds. And then finally, one person who knew them very well stood up and they began talking. And then after he got done, another. That's herd mentality. I was in church the other day and there wasn't a clear direction given on to be seated or stand up. And so you end up seeing the back of the room sitting down before the front of the room. And what it was this reverse wave effect, herd mentality. A friend does the same thing. They give you courage for those seasons of trepidation, of fear. See, one of the things I've discovered, the difference between a millionaire and DecaMillionaire is a DecaMillionaire is vulnerable to those who can push them. And here's what I've noticed is that when you win, the fourth point is a real friend celebrates your wins without envy, without jealousy. My dearest friends, he'll say, good for them, and genuinely mean it. I'll say, did you hear so-and-so won that thing? Good for them, man. I'm so happy for them. No jealousy, no envy, nothing there, no pretense. Why? Because when you have a true friend, your safest place for success is whenever you're able to communicate with people who aren't threatened by your success. It blows my mind that whenever you have any bit of success, the people who you once thought were your friend, they turn on you. I've seen family turn on me. I've seen people who I thought were friends turn on me. And it's like, it's like, shut up, man. Just shut your hole. Be quiet. My genuine friends, they come beside me and they rejoice with me. Why? Because they know there's going to be a hard season coming. Here's the fifth thing. Your true friends help you grieve without losing momentum. What they do, a true friend, they come up beside you and they carry part of the load when you can't. That's a true friend. And what that does is as they're carrying the load is they're building trust so that you know how to help them when they're in crisis and so that you can display to others. Here's what a true friend does. I'm reminded that when Jesus himself was, after he'd been scourged and beaten, and he was now pulling his cross to Calvary, that he stumbled and an individual came and even held the cross of Jesus and carried it all the way to the Golgotha's hill. Think about that. Jesus' blood's now running down this man's face. Don't discount that, friends. Don't discount this shift that whenever you're victorious, they're celebrating. And whenever you're going through hard times, they're grieving and not allowing you to lose momentum. That individual who bore Jesus' cross, he knew the mission. He knew that the Son of God had to die for eternal life to happen. And he didn't discount his act. One of the things I've noticed, though, is that seasonal friendships, as I'm calling them, seasonal friendships, you might call them acquaintances, they still have eternal value. There's this group around me, 3 or 4 people that are lifelong friends that I can call today and they will drop everything and come to my rescue or come to my need or be there for me. And I would do the same for these 3 or 4 individuals. And then we have others who, man, we know each other. We know each other pretty well. I'm not sure they would actually do that. They may ask some questions. They may be there. Some people are in our lives for a season. Man, that's great. And then they need to move on. May I challenge you to release them with gratitude and not bitterness. I've been talking to my children about this, and I was talking to my daughter, and that's where this point came from. She actually mentioned this to me. She said, Dad, I was hearing your podcast around friendships, but what about that individual who was a friend of mine in high school that I see them occasionally and I just don't see them anymore? Or about my friends in college. I said, baby doll, the reality is she has 2 friends that have been with her since she was 3 years old, 4 years old. They're very dear friends. They're going to be with you for a lifetime. And now as you go into college, you're going to meet maybe one more. And then in your early 20s, your early 30s, you're going to meet another one. You're going to have probably 4 or 5 friends. And then you have others that just life takes some different parts. Don't be bitter. Encourage them, love on them, because friendship, being a friend, is part of your calling. We don't just have friends for what they can do for us. We're a friend so that whenever they need us, we're their seasonality for them. Friendship is part of your calling. It's not a distraction. You have this vision to scale your business. You have this vision to move from millionaire to DecaMillionaire. Whatever your journey is, maybe it's just move your revenue. Maybe it's to obtain freedom. Whatever you listen to me for, you have something that you're seeking to achieve. Do you realize that a friend, being a friend and having a friend is part of that calling? It's not a distraction. Jesus calls his followers friends. We're called the friend of God. The same is true for us. We have to treat friendship as a ministry, not as a side hobby. We have to invest in friends. Why? Because you and I have something we can share with others. Friendship is not a one-way street. They're there to help me. Friendship is also my ability to help them and pour into them. I don't want them to make the same decisions, some same stupid moves that I made. I want them to reap all the benefit with none of the pain. That's the challenge of a friend. So let me challenge you this week. Take one protective step this week. Maybe it's to repair a strained friendship. Maybe it's to set a boundary. Maybe you're saying, hey, look, I need to be vulnerable with you for a second. We had this disagreement and this hurt, but you know what? I can see where you came from. Let's put this behind us. Let's go forward. If you can intentionally celebrate with somebody this week, do it. Do it, friends. We all need those individuals in our lives to help us through all the seasons, and we all need to be that individual. Friendship for a DecaMillionaire is intentional. And that is something I notice consistently that separates the millionaire from the DecaMillionaire. We'll talk to you next week.